What's up, everyone? This episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. Yo, big game coming up. Crowd favorites. What are we making? We're making meats. I'm making meats anyway. I always make meats. I don't even like football or the Super Bowl, but as an excuse to cook, it is perfect. Because, I remember one year, me and Thad made wings, 100 wings at home. It was awesome. And when you're buying that much meat, it is really hit or miss if the store is going to work out for you. That's why ButcherBox is there for you. They can make meat arrive at your door. And they can't just do it for Super Bowl Sunday or for a holiday. They do it every month. Each month, they send a box of the highest quality meats to your door for a better price than you would get it at the grocery store, which gives me more time to spend cooking and sharing delicious meals with my family or friends. It's less trips to the grocery store, better, more affordable selection. It's just there when I get home. Right? So all the meat they've got, it's free of antibiotics and added hormones. Every box is 9 to 11 pounds of meat, which is enough for 24 individual meals. It's packed fresh and then shipped frozen and vacuum sealed, so it stays that way. It goes right in your fridge. When it's ready to go, you just cut it open. You didn't get that freezer burn, right? It stays vacuum sealed. They've got pre-made boxes you can just kind of click and pick, or you can customize your own box. But either way, you're going to get exactly what you want. You can get 100% grass-fed and finished beef, free-range organic chicken, heritage pork, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, nitrate-free bacon. It's the way that meat should be. And it's the most affordable and convenient way to get healthy, humanely red. Pause. Remember the pause. It's the most affordable and convenient way to get healthy, humanely raised meat. With ButcherBox, you get high-quality meat for around $6 a meal. So here's how it goes. Right now, you can get a free rack of St. Louis ribs, 1 pack of bacon, and 1 pack of pulled pork in your first box. It's an enormous, meat party for free. For free. Your first box, right? Add pulled pork, bacon, and a rack of ribs. Damn! Go to butcherbox.com/tire and get these meats right here. butcherbox.com/tire. All right? Get these free meats from butcherbox.com/tire. Now, it's time to talk about your health. Your health is important. It's the middle of a pandemic. The city I live in, Los Angeles, is a complete disaster. Right? You want to stay on top of your health, but you don't want to go into a doctor's office. That's going to seem a little shady right now. Lemonade Health is a virtual medical office providing you affordable health care without the need for insurance and without the need for going into a doctor's office. The medical team at Lemonade Health can treat anything from erectile dysfunction to anxiety, depression, insomnia, hair loss, high blood pressure, and more. I actually did use Lemonade to re-up my high blood pressure medication. And a couple of people in the last week's episode commented on the fact that I said that I smoke weed instead of taking medication and that I also take medication. I was referring to mental medication. I smoke weed instead of taking the kind of medication your shrink would give you. That works. I take medication for blood pressure still. And I got it from Lemonade Health. I didn't have to go to my doctor's office. It was brilliant. Here's what they're doing, right? Lemonade is providing Smoking Tire listeners 50% off your first order of any ED medication. 50%, folks. Half price. Getting started is easy. Visit lemonadehealth.com. That's spelled lemon A-I-D. Not like the beverage, lemonade help, like lemonadehealth.com/tire. Fill out the online questionnaire and their medical team will review and get you medication fast. Delivery is fast, free, and comes in discreet packaging. Visit lemonadehealth.com/tire for 50% off your first order of ED medication at Lemonade Health. Yo, winter's here. It's time to start thinking about tires. It's time to start thinking about tires for the snow. It's also time to start thinking about tires for next spring in case you got to back order something, in case you got to get it. And you're probably not thinking of Vredestein, but you should be. Why should you be thinking about Vredestein? Because they're the only global Tier 1 tire brand yet to be widely introduced to the U.S. until now. Vredestein was founded in the Netherlands in 1909. And one of my favorite thing about these tires, these Vredestein tires, is Giorgetto Giugiaro and Giugiaro Design does the sidewall design of these tires. And in fact, the tires that I got Vredestein to send young Zach for his M3 say Giugiaro Design on the sidewall, which I think is very cool because Giugiaro Design is responsible for some of the most beautiful and iconic cars of all time. So we got Zach the Vredestein Hypertrax, which is their ultra high performance tire, competes with the tires that I talk about on my show all the time, and they offer market leading wet weather performance, handling, braking, and hydroplaning for modern cars. This kind of stuff is important. A lot of people don't really consider the wet weather performance of a tire, and they really should, right? Vredestein has tires for modern cars. They've got tire for classic cars. They've got period correct styled sidewall tires for classic cars, and they've even got racing tires and modern high performance tires for new and classic race cars. I guess 80s and 90s is considered classics these days, and they've got tires, high performance tires for vehicles from the 80s and 90s as well. I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's worth it just for the sidewall designs, because I would never buy a tire just for its sidewall design. But like, I happen to think that the Giugiaro tire looks extremely cool on a Giugiaro designed vehicle. So you should think about getting extra matchy with some Giugiaro designed Vredestein tires on your Radwood era vehicle. You can find the entire Vredestein lineup at TireRack.com, and you can shop there. But be sure to follow them along at Instagram at Vredestein Tires. Follow them on Instagram at Vredestein Tires, and we're going to be doing a little video to see how Zach likes his tires on his new M3. Project car update, hashtag. Last but certainly not least, in fact, you could say last but most, is our friends at Tradecraft Farms, the official ganja of the Smoking Tire podcast, which is still one of my favorite phrases to say out loud in life. I mean, it's just silly and ridiculous and also amazing and extremely civilized. Very civilized. Tradecraft sells the highest quality ganja in Los Angeles. I went to visit their facility yesterday. They have a new technology. They just bought a machine that looks very, very expensive. And what it does is it aerosolizes THC. So think Banaka. THC Banaka. That is the future. And I'm going to fuck with that all day, every day. It's going to be delightful. I was telling people about it, and everyone's very excited.
Stay fresh, stay friendly.
Stay fresh. And this weekend, actually, January 16th, Saturday, January 16th, Tradecraft Farms is having a grand opening of a enormous retail location in Port Hueneme. Is that pronounced right, Zach? Hueneme?
I don't know.
Hueneme? It's up by Oxnard. You take a beautiful drive up the PCH from Los Angeles. If you're thinking, man, where am I going to drive my sports car this weekend? I know, to the Tradecraft Farms dispensary opening in Port, I believe it's Hueneme, Hueneme. I think that's how you pronounce it. And they have, it's a great drive up the PCH, up the ocean, delightful. They've got a huge new retail location there. And to see what they're up to on the regular, it's Tradecraft_farms on Instagram. Y'all, make me look good. Make me look good by following them. That's pretty much their metric. If we bump their Instagram followers up real high from this podcast, they're going to be like, Matt Farah is good. We should keep giving him money and weed. And so I don't really ask for a lot from you guys, but I'm asking for this. That's all I want. It don't cost you nothing. And if you see the bag at the store, if you see the sign on the side of the dispensary, or perhaps if you're in LA and driving east on the 10 freeway, as you pass downtown LA on your left, you will turn your head to the right and you'll be smashed in the face with a beautiful smell of skunk. And then you will see a large brick building with a sign on the roof that says Tradecraft Farms. And that will be the smell of delightfulness that you can experience for yourself if you're in LA. That's my hat. Follow those guys on the gram. Alrighty, on this episode, folks, me and Zach are in the studio. We had attempted to do a dive bomb, a call in on the fly with our friend. The technical details of it did not work out. It became a crew show. We discussed the Defender off-roading. We discussed the Ford Mach-E, and we discuss a whole bunch of other things.
Some questions.
And we discuss the fact that a guy I did a one take with stormed the Capitol and threatened to shoot Nancy Pelosi on live television. You don't want to miss it, folks. It's a crew show, the Smoking Tire Podcast. Thank you all for joining us. It was a pretty fucking shitty weekend for myself. Conrad passed away suddenly on Saturday. It was sudden, but not totally unexpected. He was diagnosed with congestive heart failure like 18 months ago, and they pretty much said, he was otherwise a very healthy cat, and they pretty much said that one day, they said maybe 5 or 6 months, and he lasted 18 months, and they guessed 5 or 6. I don't know about those guesses, but they said 5. They said maybe like 5 or 6 months, but 8. They said pretty much. He would just drop dead one day, and I came home from work, and I found him, laying in a way he didn't lay, in a place he didn't lay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was a counter top of the castle.
I mean, he was right in the middle of the floor. Right, I walked up the stairs from work. I hadn't even put my shit down, and just like I saw him, he was facing the windows, and it looked like he was just walking towards the windows and just straight over.
Wow. And
I knew he was gone right away, but this leads me to a frustrating thing about using your phone as the key to a car, because I was pretty sure Conrad had passed when I saw him. His eyes were open, his mouth was open, he was limp. And Hannah came running, and she thought she heard his heartbeat, although in hindsight, she thinks maybe it was her own. And we both thought maybe there was a chance he could be saved. And we grabbed him and ran down. She was in front of me and ran down to the Mach-E in the garage, which is connected to my phone as a key. She opens the door first. The car is unlocked. She opens the door, the passenger door, and the alarm goes off. Now, what kind of vehicle with a fully electric door latch mechanism would allow you to open the door only to then set the alarm off?
Yeah, that seems like a bait.
Right.
A trap.
It's a problem. And then, to disable the alarm, I have to I can't just walk up to the car and get in it and start it now. I have to open an app, go into this app, and this is all happening in like a fucking panic. And it's just like, I'm like cursing the car, which I otherwise really fucking like. You're going to hear me say a lot of nice things about the Mach-E, because it's a lovely, lovely thing. But I was just cursing this phone as a key system that, in conjunction with something either by design or by not work, what kind of mechanism would allow you to open the door only to set the alarm off?
Yeah.
It's not like you put a fucking Viper on an 87 Targa and you open the door and it went off. Like, just don't make the button work. Like, what the fuck is this? Wait till the key is there. Like, I don't understand this. I've been on the phone with someone at Ford about this because I was sufficiently annoyed by it. And they're working on it. This was the first someone has told them of this problem. And I'm driving an early build pre-production unit. Mm-hmm. And so there's time to fix this problem. And it's not a judgment on the whole car. And it's not the first time I've used a car with a phone as a key system and found not just that I've doubted the system, but that when I've tried it and tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, I realized my doubt was totally justified, and we've gone too far past convenience into inconvenience.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's so complex to try to get those systems to marry each other.
The
and deal
keyless
with
entry
Bluetooths
fob
everywhere, and smart houses, and RF, like all that stuff.
What they said was ultimately, he said, "What's your phone?" And I said, "It's a 12 mini." And they go, "Well, we're still working on the integration for that. They have to do one phone at a time."
Oh my gosh.
They go, "If you happen to be using a 12 Pro, it would have been a little more seamless, like with the phone." So like, okay, but it's just like, you know, I'm not trying to be grouchy, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be like, only a metal key, although I love a key and I would happily use a key. But it brings in so many other options for things to go wrong, which can go wrong at I mean, look, ultimately, I'm pretty sure Conrad had already passed. And although we were racing, by the way, if you want to drive to a vet with a dying cat, or possibly a dead cat, but maybe a dying cat, and optimistically a dying cat. If you want to be a total shitbag about how you drive to the vet.
The Mustang Mach-E.
The Mach-E. Or, I mean, any EV. You can drive like a piece of shit and in a pretty inoffensive and invisible way. And I did. I drove like a piece of shit. I didn't run any red lights, but I ran multiple stop signs. I passed people in places I shouldn't have because I thought maybe a couple seconds might save my cat, but it didn't. But it was a fucking rough day.
Yeah,
it was a rough
sad
weekend.
day.
I mean, you know, I didn't have pets growing up, and Conrad was my first like pet. Like he was I didn't like have pets as a kid that I had to like bury, you know, in the backyard or anything like that. Like Conrad is my first, you know, complete life cycle pet at all. And so it's really, really hard.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like made it to 16 and died of natural causes. You know what I mean? Like he didn't get run over by any cars. He didn't get eaten by any neighborhood dogs. You know, I didn't kill him with bad food. You know, he got to the end. You know, he died. He literally died of natural causes, and he died in a way that I believe you don't think he felt a second of pain.
Yeah, it still sucks though. Like that's the hard thing with pets. Unless you get a turtle that lives to be 130, or like an owl or whatever. Like your cat or dog is going to die before.
That would be much more sad if he outlived me. Believe me.
His kid has like a tortoise, and it's like, what's the average lifespan? He's like 112.
100.
It's like this thing's
he needs a will.
You
need a will for something like that.
Yeah.
But you know, we have 4 cats, and he was the only one who wore a collar. So it's really empty in the house without him because he was the only one who made any noise when he were around the house, the jingle.
Right.
But it sucks. He was, and like, you know, every pet is special, right? Like every pet is special, but like some pets, I think Vinny wrote this on my Instagram when I wrote the obituary. You know, some pets really go above and beyond what is expected of them as a pet. You know what I mean? Like I've had a bunch of different cats, and like they've all been great, but like Conrad was like more special than other cats. Like better personality, just better, you know, like he was, you know, you could condescendingly say that he was dog-like. That's what people say when they're trying to be complimentary of a cat. They say it's like a dog. And you go, no, asshole. It's like a good cat.
Right.
It's not a dog. It's a good cat that loves people. Like that's way different than being dog-like.
Yes.
So anyway, today's super chat, if everybody would like to get on the super chat today, I'm going to donate all the super chat money to the Peter Zippy Fund, which is an animal shelter that I support in Hermosa Beach, California. When I sold the Mustang, all the money went there. We give to them every year. And although Conrad was found in a cardboard box in New York City, he didn't come from a shelter. He really liked his morning milk. He got his milk every single morning, and I will earmark all the money for milk for kittens so they can enjoy a luxurious milky lifestyle every morning. If you guys want to make a donation to the super chat in Conrad's name, all the money is going to go to an animal shelter today. So
yeah, it's hard. You found him in the street, right? In the box. Like
in a box.
Yeah.
The very first time I hung out with Tom Morningstar. who would,
Tom Morningstar was your second pet for people.
Yeah. So it was, and I don't know, like, I don't know how long it's going to take me to forget the image of finding him dead.
Probably never.
That's fucking haunting, man. It's just, to see.
It is, but I think, I mean, I've had friends die.
Yeah.
The image when you first is twisted.
Yeah.
And then it eventually, the happy memories take over and they carry a lot more weight.
Yeah, that's true. But the house feels empty, especially in the mornings, because in the morning is when, like, I'd get up pretty early, and he sleeps in the kitchen. He doesn't sleep in the bedroom. He sleeps in this tower in the kitchen, and as soon as I walk into the kitchen, he hops onto the kitchen counter, and it's like milk time. I start making the coffee, and it's a little jingle, So it's when I went to make coffee this morning, it was very quiet.
You could put a bell on the cabinet or something.
I kept his collar. We're gonna do something with it. I don't know what.
Yeah, don't put it on another
I didn't
cat.
do one of the weird ash things. Although Hannah they do a paw print when they take his remains.
That's cool.
Which I said no to, but she said she got it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll probably be happy she got it at some point.
Yeah, it's a good memory.
But yeah, man, fucking what a terrible. I mean, anyone who's had a really long-term, good pet die is fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's so terrible.
Yeah, it's the thing you try to not focus on when you get a new pet is like, you're gonna die before me.
Yeah. Well, in the last, since Conrad got the diagnosis, I've not been able to, you don't think about it all the time, but I've been just dreading,
Right.
Am I going to have to make a decision for him? Is this going to be one of those things where he goes and hides somewhere to be alone, and I won't find him for a while? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I suppose grand scheme of how he could die, this is probably the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Right here, soon as I got home, you know what I mean? I didn't have to choose it, so.
Right. The best it could have gone. And
sorry if I. Oh, wow, some really nice
time.
people making some really nice donations. Thank you all. You guys are very, very, very kind. Everything will go to the Peter Zippy Fund, which is an animal shelter for cats in not Huntington, excuse me, Hermosa Beach. So thank you to everyone who's making a donation for in Conrad's name. That's very nice.
He had a great life. He saw both coasts.
He was a G.
Yeah.
He definitely had a really, really, really good life for a cat.
Yeah, he's a good cat.
Anyway, it's hard for me to anyway that. I can't really anyway it.
But if you had to drive,
if I had
an
to
animal
anyway,
to the vet,
I feel like, and I didn't. I opened about complaining about the Mach-E, and something that in fact probably by the time people can buy it will be fully solved. It's probably a couple dozen keystrokes away from being solved already, considering I talked to an engineer about 45 minutes ago about this issue, which I'm happy. That's one of the great things about driving an early car is you don't have to wait to the review and go, this fucking thing, if you just call them and they go, oh, what's wrong? What's going on? They'll put you on the phone with an engineer, and at least you can go, well, I've helped make a better car now, because how many people might have experienced this and not said something, and now they don't even know, and they don't even know it's a problem. You know what I mean? So saying something is good.
Yeah.
It's reviewing cars is partially about improving the product. So having said that, Mach-E, aside from the fact that it is labeled as a Mustang and has horses on it, which is most certainly not a Mustang. When you ask Zach or myself or my wife, it is not a Mustang. None of us like the horses.
Yeah, it looks too modern to have horses. It seems like an old thing because they are. It's an old form of transportation. I get it's a brand thing, but it's just the car is really cool.
Aside from the horses, even if it was just Mach-E and not Mustang Mach-E without horses on it, I'd be cool with it. Really cool. I'm not going to die on the fucking hill of the name. I don't give a shit that much. But what a nice car.
Really nice.
We have the big battery all-wheel drive one. So it's the range model, but with all-wheel drive. There's going to be this GT coming out that has mag ride, summer tires, bigger motor that's even more powerful. This one is what do they call it? It's like Mach-E 4X, like premium or premium. I think it's premium. It's the one you want. It's pretty much the nicer volume model, right? There's a base, and then there's this one, and then there's like the California Route 1, like skip that shit. And then there's like the Launch Edition, like definitely skip that shit. Here's a piece of consumer advice. Never buy the Launch Edition of any car ever. Like ever. It's not, because they don't make launch editions of cars that are limited edition enough to be valuable.
Right, yeah.
So you don't ever want that.
It might be special in 50 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You don't want it. What you want is the nicest regular one you can get. So this one has the 88 kilowatt battery, right? The big battery, all-wheel drive. It does 0 to 60 in 4.8. It has one speed like a Tesla, not two speeds like a Taycan. And with the all-wheel drive has a 270-mile range, and that's with 346 horsepower and 428 torque, which to me, it still feels fast.
Yeah, it does.
Like it feels
fast. It is fast.
Yeah,
it is. In the lineup of electric cars and electric performance cars, maybe it's not fast because all we see is the internet with Taycan and Tesla and stuff. But
yeah, if you don't want a dragster,
yeah. Like I jumped in it last night. You jumped on it. It was like, what, 0 to 60 in 4.5? Like,
yeah,
that is a quick car by all measure. Yeah. It kept going. And the handling, I was like, what are we doing around this on-ramp? This is amazing.
So you were more impressed, like when I hucked it into this Cloverleaf that I like to test everything on. It's got bumps in the middle of it and shit. It's cool. And, you know, it's got like sort of eco-y tires on it, these Continental, you know, what you would call range-oriented tires, right? And they're fine. They're totally fine, but they're the first thing that's gonna go, right? So when you huck it into a corner, you know, the steering is RC car. You know, there's zero feel at all, but it's very direct and sharp. You know, and to say that this thing drives fundamentally exactly like a Model 3 or Model Y long range is not far from the truth. I mean, unless you literally go back to back to back to back to back, which I haven't done. The last time I drove a Model 3 was, I don't know, 6 months ago. It's the same. It's basically the same. The suspension is comfort oriented, but very nice. Like the first weak point is the tires. The second weak point are the shocks. And if you get the GT, ultimately, those are the two of the biggest differences: is better tires and mag ride. So that'll solve that. If what you want is the sporty one, but I mean, if what you want is like the range one, like the appliance, but the nice appliance, you know, where your phone sort of becomes the car and back and forth. You know, I mean, this thing is really it's basically a better Model 3, a better made Model 3, certainly. I mean, I think I've seen some Model 3s that are put together really nice. I've seen other Model 3s that are put together terribly. This is, even as a pre-pro car, seems pretty nice.
Seems really buttoned up. The interior, I was really impressed.
It was built on the line. It's not a hand-built car. It's a very low VIN, and it's pre-production, but it was built on the line.
It has this nice marriage of fabric, carbon, white pleather. It's all really tightly stitched together. It fits really nice, and it reminded me of the BMW i3 with kind of like these natural cloth materials. And it's almost tweed next to carbon, modern next to old. The style of the entire interior really did not look like a Ford to me, other than when I was looking at the center console with the shifting puck, which I know is just that they're going to share parts, of course. But I was really, really impressed by it.
It's definitely and from a quality perspective, it's the nicest Ford branded vehicle I've ever driven. Like I drove the Lincoln Aviator, which I kind of hated the car, but the materials in the interior and stuff, that was a step up. But that thing was $90,000.
Yeah.
This thing. His sticker is $56,000 is tested, $48,500 out the door after the tax credit. I mean, that's so much car for that.
Yeah. Looks really good. And I'll say to people, it looked smaller and sleeker in person than it does in photos. I thought it was going to look really bloated in person.
Yeah, it looks
not sleeker.
Bloated.
It looks just like a slightly taller wagon, like everything else.
I brought it to Cars and Coffee. People were really digging it.
Yeah.
People were super, super into it.
Better looking than a Model 3 for sure.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's in the same. I think it's nice looking.
Yeah, but I think the difference is in the details. In the Model 3, to me, the front has always just fallen off too abruptly. It just looks a little too melty.
The Model 3 is pretty froggy.
Yeah,
it's a little froggy.
Yeah,
this is less
nice.
froggy. You know what I did? Okay, things a Tesla is a little better at. The dashboard in a Tesla is a little bit lower. They take a little better advantage of the fact. Like, they don't have a gauge cluster behind the wheel. And because of that, they're able to lower the dashboard a little bit more to where it's almost like the dashboard of a McLaren or something, where it really drops off. It's still in the Ford, it's still lower than where it would be normally, but it's not as low as the Tesla. So it feels a little bit more normal from that regard and a little less like there's nothing in front of you. Although there is kind of a nice frunk in front of you. So Tesla does that, I think, a little bit better. And Tesla's infotainment, the screen, like, you can sit down in a Tesla and in 30 seconds you're an expert in their system. Ford's takes a day or two. It's kind of... It's not a bad system by any means. We were playing with it earlier today when we went to get COVID tests. Like, it's fast, it's responsive, it's pretty intuitive. It just takes very slightly longer than Tesla's to get used to. That's all. But
and when you own the car, you will get used to it.
But you can do the one pedal drive, or you can do the full coast. You can turn that off. There's 3 different drive modes, like regular, comfort, and sport. They name them really dumb. It's engage, whisper, and unbridled. Which is so lame. I'm surprised it doesn't make a little neigh when you.
Oh God, that'd be so bad.
I'm really surprised. Like, it's not that the modes are named weird, because I've seen shit that's named really, like the BMW had like the Vitalize modes and shit.
Yeah.
Even a serious manufacturer has put corny things in cars sometimes. It's that it's not like it's labeled. When they're not labeled normal, comfort, sport, and the engage, whisper, like that, like which one's regular?
Right. Yeah.
Like which one is just regular?
Yeah.
And they're not labeled in order of sportiness, actually. On the top is regular, in the middle is quiet, and then on the bottom is super aggro mode. So it's weird,
That's
right?
like your oven dial going from 0 to 200
The layout
to
is just kind of strange. And then you hit the little info tab where it describes what unbridled means. And it just says like unleashed, unchained performance. It doesn't actually say powertrain in steering in like I would like them to tell me what these settings mean a little more. These are pretty. Think about this. This is Ford's first EV, and the gripes I have are about the badges, the naming of features, and the integration with the phone I bought last week. You know what I mean? In a car that doesn't come out for 6 months. So these are very, very small issues in what is overwhelmingly a fucking spectacular car. This is a really, really, really nice car, especially for what they're charging for it. Really, really good. Zach, shall we? Oh, wow. We got a lot of donations going on. Lovers donating money to the Peter Zippy Fund for Conrad. We just passed $400, so that we'll have a nice big check. I will personally match whatever the fans put in today. How about that? Whatever you guys donate, I will double up on it, and we'll make a nice fat donation to the animal shelter today for Conrad. I'm going to have a range test, which I'm shooting tomorrow with Christian James Hand. I'm getting him out of his house. I said, Christian, what if you come to the studio at 6:30 a.m. and I will bring a negative COVID test with me we have just taken, and if you have if I have a negative result, will you join me? We have some other things that are worth talking about. Zach and I drove the new Defender, and I talked about it last week But Zach had a 3 or 4 days of street driving in it while I was off Mach-E-ing. Machete. The first person, by the way, to get the Mach-E TE Machete license plate wins.
It's gotta be Danny Trejo, right?
Right, obviously. Zach, what did you think of Defender?
Very impressed with ride quality. Very impressed with the interior design, and it looks way better in person than I thought it would. I think the photos for me made the proportions look kind of odd, and
it's been happening a lot recently. Mach-E as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true. I don't know if it's just some cars just don't photograph as well, or the photos just aren't as good. But you know, the fender flares look good on it. It's got really short overhangs front and rear. It's big. It feels, from while driving it, looking around, looking over your shoulder, it feels like a pretty big car.
Well, it doesn't have them installed in the press car, but it can be a 6-passenger vehicle.
Yeah,
you can have a third row kind of put in.
It feels bigger than a Wrangler, because it is, but it looks good. It looks upmarket.
Yeah.
Fit and finish is pretty nice. I thought they did some clever stuff with the dashboard, with the weird like recessed shelving. You know, it's interesting that they can do that.
I love that. That being able to just like throw shit on that shelf is so great, and especially that they put a USB port there too.
Yeah.
Like guest phone charging and all that kind of stuff. Awesome.
I wonder if all the electronics and things behind dashboards are now shrinking, where they can get, they have more space, or if it's just they packaged it behind the firewall or something, like the things that are traditionally back there. Because it's like, where did all this space come from? It's a very spacious interior, front seat, rear seat, really easy to get in and out of. But yeah, they just have like these shelves where other cars have airbags.
Well, the airbag is on top.
Yeah, no, I mean, it has to be there.
With Thaddeus, I had some stuff on the shelf, and Thaddeus was like, "Don't get into a crash. This shit's like shrapnel." I'm like, I don't think that's how this is designed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the airbag is on top.
They
and
wouldn't
it
let
is.
that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's just really smart space.
Yeah, it's good packaging.
Yeah.
And it rides nice. It's very quiet on the highway, which you can't say for some SUVs in that class.
It's pretty nice. I mean, it was nice enough to drive on the highway or on the road that I made 2 videos with it. I made an off-road video and an on-road video, which I don't normally do. But it was shockingly, you could kind of hustle it a little bit. It wasn't bad. The gearbox was very responsive, and the steering was decent, and it had enough brakes for,
The engine goes. I mean, the complication of the powertrain worries me a little bit, but
yes.
The power delivery is very smooth, pretty instant. You don't feel it changing from supercharger to turbo and hybrid. Like, they've married all those things really well.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really nice package. The complexity would make you nervous, I suppose, but the actual operation of it is really, really, really nice.
Yeah, well done. Well done on the mapping and the throttle sensitivity and everything.
Considering the capability off-road and considering the price, which is low for what you're getting.
Yeah.
It's really, really well-mannered on the road.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that this thing is $10,000 more than the Gladiator pretty much eliminates the Gladiator for me. And I mean, it's like within $10,000 or $15,000 of like the most expensive Wrangler 4-door. Like, how you can get those up to what, 65?
Yeah, if you get like the full Rubicon and everything else. Yeah.
So this thing is 72. It's like not even close. It's in the same ballpark price wise. It's not even close usability wise. You know what I mean? That Defender's nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Did you watch Doug's like road trip video? Mm-mm. Do you watch Doug's videos? He's put in the title what went wrong. Did you think anything went wrong? I didn't watch the video because I don't watch Doug's videos, but I forgot to text him.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have done that.
He texted me about Conrad, which is very nice of him. A lot of nice people. Actually, it was like a who's who of YouTubers texting me. There's a lot of cat lovers in the car YouTube community, a lot of animal lovers.
Well, the people that are very busy need a kind of lower maintenance animal.
Fensky, Engineering Explained, Jason Fensky. He's I think the next to me is probably the most cat-oriented YouTuber, car YouTuber.
Now, is that measured on the number of cats one has, or
number of cats, frequency of posting about them?
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I think
you are.
There's a math
that.
problem. I definitely am winning that one. Yeah. But yeah. I'm probably the only one that has fans that don't care about cars and are literally just here for the cats.
And then the cars show up and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Did I tell you that when I went to go drive the 289 Cobra down at Hillbank, the gentleman who handed over the car to me knew all 4 of my cats' names?
Wow.
Yeah, that was interesting. He probably misses Conrad too.
So what is competing against the Land Rover, price wise?
So
it's a little bit above Wrangler.
It's above Wrangler. It's let's see, maybe Land Cruiser. Land Cruiser, it would overlap with Land Cruiser a bit, although Land Cruiser is a true 7-passenger, I guess, but technically is a size up. Really expensive TRD Pro 4Runners, I guess, but I really think the Defender is a much nicer vehicle than that. Toyota does its Toyota thing, which is last decade's tech that will last into next decade.
Right.
You know what I mean? This car was designed 10 years ago, and it will last 20 more just like this.
Yes.
Whereas I think Land Rover's pushing the technological limits with what they've got going on here. But I don't know. I think it's actually kind of an interesting medium. Like, it really replaces the LR4 quite nicely. That would have been competition for it. But Zach, what other really capable off-roaders are there in between 60 and 100K? Like, I know I must be forgetting something, but what am I forgetting? You're not going to take a Cayenne.
What's the fanciest Grand Cherokee?
Probably that. I mean, you could the
called.
Super Overland, whatever. That probably crosses into the lower end of the because by the time Grand Cherokees start getting really expensive, they start going fast. The off-road ones aren't that crazy.
True.
Right?
There's always the Summit or the nicest packages. I'll find it.
That's probably the closest. I think the Defender is probably more capable than Grand Cherokee. Probably. They're both nice. Like, Grand Cherokee was very nice. And we took, it was last gen, but we took that Grand Cherokee on All Cars Go to Heaven. It did very well.
I think, and the Grand Cherokees, you can get those with air suspension. So they have, that's similar.
The Overland had air suspension. Yeah. I don't know. Bottom line, both videos you will see with the Defender, I really enjoy it. Seems like Zach did as well.
Yeah, I was impressed. Especially, you're getting a lot for that money. You're getting space, comfort, looks. It looks very unique. I think it'll look good for a long time. Like, it looks modern enough, without looking like it's some crazy futuristic idea that people won't like. Brand recognition is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you bought a Wrangler to not drive off-road, like if you bought I know I'm going back to Wrangler and it's not entirely fair, but capability-wise, that's really your biggest competition, I think. If you bought a Wrangler to only drive on tarmac, I would say you are martyring yourself on some kind of style hill. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
You're going to be miserable. Yeah, like, they look cool and they have a great character and everything, but they suck to drive on tarmac.
Yeah, if that's what you're doing, they're not good at that.
That's not good. Like, this is a way better tarmac vehicle, for when you're not doing dirt and snow things.
A Grand Cherokee Summit starts with 4x4 starts in the 50s.
Okay, so that's the base of the. Wow, look at the interior. The Defender is so much nicer. That's an old school interior. That interior is the same since All Cars 1, since the first movie.
Yeah, hexagons, same hexagons. Just different. It's true.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we got 2 Defender videos coming, and they're both gonna show that we really, really like the car, and they did a really nice job on it. Should we talk about Cleve yes. Merritt? So, considering what's happened in the country in the last week, and for those of you who follow me on Twitter, we've pretty much managed to not get into politics on the show in more than a very quick in and out. There's 1 or 2 comments maybe the last show, but it's been a quick in and out, if anything. But obviously there's been fucking craziness that's been happening at the Capitol and all kinds of craziness happening online. True believers doing crazy things. And one of them in particular stands out. There's a gentleman who was on TV during the storming of the Capitol. Do you have the article up? Who was on live television and threatened to shoot Nancy Pelosi on live TV. You may have read this story. There was a lot of news stories going on, but you may have read this one. And why single out this story is because I believe it was, Zach, what year? What year was this?
2017.
In 2017, I fucking drove this motherfucker's car on a one take. This dude had a 800 horsepower wide body E39 M5, the 2JZ in Atlanta. This was outside of Road, Atlanta.
Car you liked a lot. The internet liked it a lot.
Internet liked it a lot. A lot of 635,000 views. He seemed a little fucking kooky. For real, he was kooky. We didn't have any political discussions at the time, but he was kooky. He was out there. I remember being like, this guy's a fucking nutter, huh? Because the guys I guess I was introduced to him from the people who put together his car, the shop. Because I drove 2 cars that day. This crazy thing, and then an E46 M3 with a V8 in it. And it was fucking badass, actually. It was really, really cool. But I remember going out with this guy and coming back and being like, this guy's kind of a fucking nutter, huh? And they were like, yeah, he's a little crazy. His name is Cleveland Meredith. Jr. And, he fucking spun off into the stratosphere from there. That guy was fucking crazy, pretty edge case a couple of years ago.
I think this really highlights the number of cars you've driven. Like, it's not like you drove 6 cars and like, wow, what are the odds? Because the odds are 1 in a trillion. Like, you've driven thousands of cars.
Yeah, I driven like 1,500 cars.
Yeah.
There's another one.
You are the Kevin Bacon of the car world.
Occasionally, someone will send me a crime report that'll have some name in it that I don't really recognize. And I go, what is this? And then they'll send me the link to the whatever video it was that I made with the accused. And this happens. I mean, this happens from time to time. A car I drove on our show, Tuned, back in the day. I don't need to bring up which car it was, but the owner of the car, after I drove the car, was convicted of multiple domestic violence incidents, and it was not good. It made me go, oh, Jesus. I mean, it's not someone you want to be associated with.
Right.
In this case, I hung out. I met Cleve Meredith. I drove his car. I hung out with this guy for 1 hour, and then I went back to my fucking life. This was at Grid Life. I met this dude at Grid Life at Road, Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah. And, okay, here he is 3 years later. Fucking shoot Nancy Pelosi.
Jeez.
The people that, honestly, the people that stormed the Capitol, live streaming it on Facebook, fucking shit up on live stream, being like, I'm Dave Smith and I'm taking these are the dumbest fucking people. We have been saved in this country quite a few times recently by sheer incompetence. If the people that were doing the things actually had any skill or ability or anything, we'd be fucked.
Well, the first rule of self-incrimination is don't do it. And a lot of people forgot that first rule on that day. Unbelievable.
Cleve Meredith. Do we take the video down? We could take it. We should really should we just change the description? Just eliminate.
I just updated.
Did you update it?
Yeah. I think I updated. Oh, I didn't save. I just said updated January 11th of 2021. Before you ask, yes, it is that guy.
Did you refresh? Let's see. What does it say on the refresh? Updated. Go down. Maybe you should pin the comment. Yeah, okay, yeah, I like what you wrote there. Yes, this is the guy that stormed the Capitol and has been arrested for threatening to shoot Nancy Pelosi. I really think we can make that the above the fold. we can probably bump
Bob's watches.
We can probably bump. Look, I love Bob's watches. They're very nice people. They're not a sponsor anymore. I doubt they'll notice, but we could probably bump Bob's and go. Do you think Bob's wants to be associated with Cleve? Should I call him up? Hey guys, guess what happened to that video you sponsored of mine in 2017? Things you never think will come back to bite you in the fucking ass.
Okay, who on TST Bingo had one-take car owner storms Capitol?
Storms Capitol. Anyone? White terrorism? Anyone? White terrorism?
Did you? No?
2021 bingo card looking awful fucking crazy. If you had my cat dying and this guy being arrested for white terrorism in the same week for your 2021 bingo card, I will definitely send you a free TST shirt.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
Really,
I mean,
really.
like, you know, crazy fucking white supremacists drive cars, right?
Yeah, everybody drives cars. This really shows that everybody likes cars.
I tell you, tell you about John Jarre?
No.
John Jarre was my first experience with white supremacy in car culture. And it was when me and Larry used to go to the drag strip back in the day with our Mustangs. There was this guy, John Jarre, and he was like in his 60s. This would have been in the late 90s. And he was like in his 60s. He had a long fucking Merlin beard, you know, white Merlin beard.
Kind of like a wizard.
Yeah, wizard beard, basically.
A grand wizard beard? Or just like a regular wizard beard?
You know, somewhere between a dragon beard and a kind of, yeah. And he had a 69 Camaro, blown alcohol, fucking, you know, ran 8s, you know, blue with flames on it and all the fucking Summit stickers on the door. And then just an enormous swastika on the quarter panel. I mean, just like a foot and a half red swastika. Guy was just racing his car with fucking swastika on the car.
Wow.
I mean, like, yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, this is something I need to look out for now.
Holy crap.
L'chaim. Nice to meet you, sir.
Manischewitz? No?
Yeah.
Jeez.
What does your license plate mean, son? It's my bar mitzvah date.
Wow. That's
yeah.
It's out there in the open.
That was my first experience with white supremacy and drag racing in Englishtown, New Jersey. Yeah.
Did he have
I wonder if that guy's, if he's
out?
still alive, he definitely stormed the Capitol.
With a Camaro. Yeah. This is my chariot of freedom. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, those guys with, you know, I don't know for sure because it was a long time ago, but if I had to guess, 10-1, there's an American flag on that Camaro somewhere too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe he painted that over with the swastika.
Swastikas for freedom. It's freedom swastika.
Jesus.
It's just a freedom swastika.
Because cars can be nice because they can bring people together from communities and languages and other things. But it's also a very popular hobby with all kinds of people.
We were pretty much told to stay away from that guy.
Yeah, I think you don't need to be told that. But I'm glad,
yeah,
I'm glad someone.
No, because it wasn't. Yeah, because it wasn't. We heard that he was also, you know, completely out of his fucking mind, which is, you know, that's all lined up. Should we be a little more positive? Should we talk about our ambassadorship and how awesome it is?
Yeah,
Zach?
we should.
We were asked, offered, chosen. We are the chosen people. We are two of the chosen people, so it makes sense we were chosen. We were approached by the Bremont watch manufacturer out of England. They make some really cool, mostly aviation, but also field and some dive and a few dress-themed watches. And so me and Zach are actually going to be Bremont ambassadors for the entire year, 2021. We get to wear all this nice Bremont watches they sent us. They sent me the World Time. And actually, here, Zach, can you go to, is camera 5 up? Go to camera 5. I'll put it over here. That's not camera 5. That one. That's not a.
It's backlit.
It's backlit, but I have this beautiful Bremont World Time GMT chronograph, which I'm extremely stoked about.
Just put it close on this one.
Put it on this one, on 2. I have to go away from the thing.
Or
Zach can do it.
I have hands.
Zach can do it. Hey, it's blue. I don't have a blue watch yet, so I'm into this blue. This blue thing that's going on, and it's a true World Time. It's got, we can't see it on the camera, but it's got all the time zones all the way around the bezel. But like, you know, we've had sponsors before for like retailers, Crown and Caliber and Bob's, and Crown and Caliber was a great partner, but like being asked by like a brand that makes watches to like wear their brand, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Fucking Brad Pitt is a watch ambassador. You know what I mean? Like, fucking cool people get asked to be like seen in a brand, and like we're rocking Dylan Optics for so many years, and they've been a great partner as well. But like to be asked to rock exclusively a very high end brand of watch for a year is like quite a nice honor.
We need a photo of you standing in front of a plane, holding your cuff back as you think.
They could probably. the holding up.
That's like every billboard for watches you ever see.
Look pensive. They made me do that at my wedding day. My wedding day was like that, the photography, where he's like, all right, we're in the hotel room and I'm getting dressed and you got these really awkward, he's like, okay, adjust your watch while looking out the window pensively. And I'm like, at fucking what? It's the parking lot. And he's like, just, because I'm a shitbag. But yeah, that's pretty much how it is. But like, I'm really excited about these Bremont watches.
They're nice. They're gorgeous.
And Zach got what is yours called? The ALT1?
AZT1,
I think that's a drug. ALT1?
You're right.
It's that one.
Yeah.
Oh, ALTZ. ALTZ.
Yeah,
That's
ALTZ.
you. Yeah, ALTZ, which is a GMT pilot's watch with chronograph. Very nice piece. Zach got the one on the left there with the reverse Panda subdials. Very nice piece.
Yeah, it's really
I'm stoked to be wearing this. I got to break in this leather strap. It's like nice height. It's very thick. So when they come new, they're a little stiff. So I got to wear it and like break it in and like maybe scrape it up and smash it into some stuff. But I also might fuck with the Bosporus straps on it because I measured and it's the same 22 millimeter. Uh-oh, Zach, is my output feed frozen? Oh, nope, there I am. I don't know what happened, but something got froze. So anyway, I'm excited about being an ambassador to Bremont.
Absolutely.
Zach doesn't have to do a whole lot other than wear his watch and look handsome, which is really nice. And we're going to be giving away some Bremont swag on Instagram, so make sure you follow us. Matter of fact, live people, you should get on Instagram with us right now because we're giving away $500 gift certificates to Off the Record. $500. Like, you win this, it's like you win this with an Off the Record account, and basically it's almost literally a get out of jail free card. I can't. It's allegedly, almost literally. It's not literally. It's almost literally a get out of jail free card. It's going to be in the form of a rebate. So basically, like, if you use Off the Record and you get a credit to spend on an Off the Record affiliated attorney of up to $500. So that's going on our Instagram right now, and it's going on until tomorrow, January 12th at 1 p.m. And we're going to do a few more of these throughout the year. But just for the live folks, go enter that contest right now. It doesn't cost anything. Just go take a guess. The game is Price is Right rules. What is the VIN number of the Mach-E we're driving? It's a 3-digit. It's a low build. It's a 3-digit number. Price is Right rules. Okay. What is the VIN number? And you have to guess it in the Instagram comments. Don't fucking DM me your guesses. If you waste my time by DMing me your guesses,
you're out.
You're out. I'm just saying. It's bullshit. You know what I also wrote in my notebook here, Zach? I wrote at the last thing for my show notes today, this is the very last page in this notebook. It is. As of today.
It seems like there's more pages.
Well, I have some I write some internet passwords in the last few back pages.
Gotcha.
So I start a few pages from the reverse. But this is a notebook I started January 15th, 2019. So it's gone almost exactly 2 years to the day. 4 days shy of 2 years to the day. Every page, front and back in this notebook.
Use every line basically.
I do not. I like paper a lot, and I cherish it when I have it. There's something. I mean, how satisfying is it to have literally written on every inch of this notebook? That's fucking exciting to me, anyway. Let's get to do we have some questions for the people?
Yeah, we do.
Did the ones survive from the first stream?
I'm looking
Can you
for
find
them now.
Okay.
So
and
far,
also in the super chat, if you're just joining us, if you didn't hear the first half of the show, my boy Conrad passed away. My cat, he was 16. And if you're just chiming in with the live, every dollar in the super chat will be not only donated to the Peter Zippy Fund, Memorial Fund for Cats, which is an animal shelter in the South Bay that supports, that is a cat shelter that I support. I will match 100% of the donations. So every dollar that gets donated, I'll match it 1-to-1. And let's get some money for this animal shelter in the name of Conrad, my beautiful, handsome, and departed boy. Questions from the people. And I'm not going to necessarily shout out every single person who donated for Conrad. I'm just going to say thank you all. I really appreciate it. Because it doesn't necessarily make good radio. And I'm trying to make good radio is the thing. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out my video we just put out. It's 27 minutes of vintage Ferrari nerdery as we go out to the desert and visit Donnie, who has taken my Ferrari 328 apart and is telling us all about all the things that were wrong with it. The thing is, a lot of commenters on that video were basically saying, and granted I hammed it up a little bit for the video in terms of like shit that was wrong with the car. I gave Donnie $2,000 for parts. That was what he said he wanted up front. He goes, give me $2,000 for parts. I go, okay. Everything in that video, he's already gone through all of it, right? There's been almost nothing added onto it, and he hasn't asked me for more money. So people are just like, oh my God, this is going to be such a project. It's like, a lot of it's like replacing like wires, hoses, hose clamps, and fluid. It's not like...
Yeah, you don't need a transmission.
It's not like there's really bent metal. Stuff. It's not like there's little pieces that, Donnie has and can get that were broken or rusted or missing. And
some of which are incredibly cheap. Like, these bolts are cents.
Yeah.
And I think people, I would probably be guilty of this when you see Ferrari repair or Ferrari parts, like, it's got to be $1 million. Like, no, this costs the same as the bolts for your Ford.
Yeah. I mean, it may be a little more than the bolts for the Ford, but it's like not that much more.
I mean, some of the bolts are like, he said 4 cents each. That's
yeah.
pretty fucking cheap.
Well, maybe for a Ford, they're 2 cents. I mean, you know what I mean?
True.
But it's not like they're Pagani bolts.
Right.
Yeah.
They have to be made by a pigeon.
No, I mean, and Donnie obviously, like, look, obviously me making a video telling people about him is going to lead to business. And so do I get a break on his hourly labor rate? Like, yes, I do. I do get a break on that. But even so, even if you didn't, it's not like this service that he's doing would be $20,000. You're looking at I think we're looking at a service that's under $5,000 or $6,000 retail, which is... It's ugly when you look at it, and he spends time going, and this is broken, and this is broken, and this is broken, and this is broken. It looks ugly, but it's literally right in line with what I expected, something to be. And, oh, by the way, I bought the car. I put 600 miles on it before getting it to Donnie. So it's not like it was like some non-running project that I'm trying to undo. I drove the car 120 miles to his shop. You know what I mean? So it's not like it was like in some terrible ratchet shape. Like, it ran fine.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know what I mean? Like, it was going. It wasn't like smoky it had a rough cold start, but like it didn't leave me stranded on the side of the road and going smoking and me going, oh, fuck me, this is a disaster. Like,
I know everything is going to be really new.
I knew it was going to need things. And it needs the things.
It's 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
It's going to need things.
Needs a few things. Needs a few
Looks
things.
Good, though. It's good.
Did you find the things for the things? We got to make a new screen. It's got Tradecraft Farms on it. It's got Off the Records on it. Oh, these are old questions?
No, these are today.
Sorry. January 11th is actually today.
Speaking of Tradecraft Farms.
We got these new pens. They're like artist collabs. I took Thaddeus to Tradecraft Farms. I blew his fucking mind. He was laughing his balls off.
I'm sure.
Because I get to go in the cage. The cage is like Half-Baked. You know, in Half-Baked, when Dave Chappelle goes in the room, there's just bricks of weed and shit. Yep. The cage is like that. It's just bricks and bricks and bricks, but it's not bricks, it's bags, because weed is nicer now. But hundreds of pounds of weed, and then packs and packs, giant Tupperware bins of packs of joints and vape pens, whatever. And it's just like, see you guys in 10 minutes, have fun. And just take anything you want. I mean, it's the best.
Just run around like Charlie and Chocolate
Factory. Best.
Crazy.
Gravity Drift says, I'm upgrading from a track-prepped E46 M3. I want mid-engine, 80% track. The specialness of the S54, $100,000 budget. A GT4 with a re-gear is what he suggests, and a GT4 with a re-gear is what I would suggest as well. I would also just suggest... depending on how committed you are to mid-engine, like, I would also recommend maybe a GT3. It's rear engine, but rear engine is closer to mid-engine than it is to front engine in terms of how it works. Mm-hmm. Also for $100K, if you want to wait, new Z06 coming out. It's going to be a fucking weapon with that high revving motor.
True.
Also, track... I would say maybe a secondhand new gen NSX, which is a beast on the track, and people have largely forgotten about them. And they're very fun to drive on racetracks.
Very fun, very fast.
Very fun and very fast.
Probably feel a little bit quite different though in terms of just that rawness he's getting from the E46 and from like the Cayman.
I agree. I would say variant of Cayman GT3 is really where you want to be. 100K. I mean, you're not going to get into a Ferrari that's going to be fast enough for you. You're not going to want something one-off. 100K might.
A GT4 with a regear is amazing.
Yeah, I'd rather have a GT4 with a regear than $100,000 worth of Gallardo or $100,000 worth of 430 or, Yeah, I'm in the same place as you. George Bull McLean says, I'm a hypothetical 80s billionaire / Miami Coke dealer. What 3 cars should I buy from stand out from the other boat-wearing fools? 80s, I mean, you want a Gambala 911, wide body,
oh my God, that
strakes, right?
So ugly, but I mean, it'll stand out.
Yeah. You want a Cizeta Marauder, the V16.
A what?
You know what a Cizeta is? Cizeta. A Cizeta. It has a transverse Cizeta. There it is, V16T. That is it's a transverse V16 powered car. The V16 is made of 2 Lamborghini Jalpa V8s stuck together at the crank.
I mean, why would you not just get a Diablo? Because this is close.
The answer is Diablo, obviously. But he said stand out. Yeah. It says 4 pop-up headlights.
I think
it's kind of cool.
What?
Yeah.
This stands out in the wrong direction, I think.
Yeah, well, it's heinous looking.
Yeah,
it's heinous.
Because you're going to pull up and your friends that have boat shoes and Diablos are going to go, oh, you couldn't afford a Diablo or something? You're like, no, this is cool. It's got 4 lights. Like, right, okay.
They only made like 11 of these things.
That doesn't make it good.
No, it doesn't. How about a Jaguar XJR15? XJR15 would have you standing out, really. That would be quite something. Maybe an F40, obviously. The XJR15 is very cool.
Yes, this is a good-looking car.
That's objectively very, very cool.
Yeah. This looks like an Ultimate GTR's father.
Is it Group C? I forget what group it is, but I believe the XJR15 is a Group C car, and it's very, very pretty. And you can see where the inspiration for the Zonda came from. In profile, don't you see a lot of Zonda there?
Yeah. Really short canopy. Really long tail. Big
side intake at the lower half of the thing. If you really block off, the lower half. If you just look at the car from the top third of the wheels up, it's basically a Zonda. XJR15 rocks. Right? Very similar. Right? The side intakes, very similar. The door mechanism, very similar.
Yeah, just
the whole
shape
top
of the
half of the canopy, top half of the car, very similar. Yeah. I love those. Both Zondas and XJR15s.
God, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they're really
cool. Zonda's a couple years later, but this one's a 91. You know our friend Phil?
Yeah.
Our friend Phil, who has Caffeine and Machine?
Yep.
He owns an XJR15.
Really?
With, I believe, 0 miles on it.
What?
Yeah. It's in plastic.
Jeez. It's just still in the wrapper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking car.
Yeah.
Ooh, man. Yeah, it's got great shape.
Badass. From what I gather, they're fucking impossible to drive on the street. They're, just like that 962 I drove, just like just gnarly psycho thing, But
they only made 53 of them.
Yeah. I forget how many were required for the homologation, but I don't even know if they ever actually raced any. Did they actually race any of these things? Can you see if there's a race car? That looks like a track day. That doesn't look like an actual race car. I don't know if they ever actually raced this. That looks like a spec race.
Yeah, that's a spec race in Monaco, which means it's really like a dealership
maybe that was
event.
what they did. Someone is going to have I think they might have done it as a gentleman driver series.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they tried to do it with 220s as well.
Because here's a race at Silverstone.
Yeah, but that's the
Monaco.
street car with stickers on it. That's not a race car.
Yeah, but it's got like, this window.
It's got
a
Lexan.
window.
It's got a Lexan window, but that doesn't look like a race car.
No,
it looks like
no.
a street car at a track day. I don't know.
This would be called GT4.
Somebody's
going
to be fucking screaming at their computer or whatever right now because I'm not nerdy enough to know the fucking history of this car.
Let's go to the people. Nobody yet. They're a little behind us, but they'll catch up and yell.
Okay. I think that should get your question. John Eman says, do I know anything about Volvo P1800s? I'm in love with the design, but know little about them. Zach's dad owns a P1800.
He does. Let me tell you. Good-looking car. Unreliable in many ways. You just got to keep up the maintenance, and they're weird. It's like it has old fuel injection, so you think it's going to work like fuel injection, but it's not because it's old. There was a period of time where carburetors evolved to become fuel injection, and that bridge is kind of risky. I'm sure you've owned cars that have been in that time period.
All of my cars, all of them, are Bosch CIS fuel injection.
How are they?
Fine when it's tuned. Like the Ferrari one was not tuned right, and it started like shit. And the Porsche and the Lamborghini one are both tuned expertly, and they run great.
I think that's the thing, is you have to be aware that the fuel injection needs to be tuned where a carb did, and then eventually fuel injection just kind of worked because all the computers
you don't have to. Well, you don't have to tune it once. You don't have to tune it like a carb where it's like, oh, you're 50 feet higher in elevation now. You have to adjust your jets.
My dad seemed to need tuning more often than others, but that could have been his thing. What's funny about the P1800 is, it's so good looking. I always thought, like, I can restore this car for him someday and it'll be worth money. And the nicest ones you'll see on Bring a Trailer, they just go for 20.
Yeah.
So they're not expensive for the cool factor, but it's also, don't expect it to be a big appreciating asset.
No. There's a couple of them that I see at Cars and Coffee once in a while, and they are gorgeous.
Yeah.
A restored one where the chrome is right and the paint is straight, and it is a lovely thing.
Yeah.
They're so pretty. The interiors are great. I drove that one. I drove a... Wow, are they that much behind? Oh,
No,
okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I drove one that that had an engine swap that was swapped with a GM Turbo Ecotec or something.
That's a good idea.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Because the stock engine's not good. I remember the transmission, like when you're in second and fourth, it's angled back almost at the rear bumper. Like it's like this weird up-down lever kind of thing. The steering wheel is almost totally vertical, perpendicular to the ground. But you can't ignore the shape. And that's why people still love them. It's a gorgeous car.
Yeah.
You could probably get into one for not a lot of money, and it'll have a lot of cool factor.
And there might be a way to hot rod it with a reasonable amount of budget. Like, there might be a way. I'm not really sure. But they're fucking pretty. And they came in multiple body styles. You had the coupe, you had a wagon, and was it just coupe and wagon?
Yeah, it was coupe and ES.
That's it, right? Yeah. Coupe and wagon?
Yeah.
They're both cool.
Shooting brake.
The wagon is real cool, though.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. Treviso, how has being owner of Westside been so far? What's been your favorite part? The best thing about it is that running the business, building building the building was so hard and annoying and terrible and expensive that I forgot that the ultimate goal was to have a business that was none of those things. The point of having a business was to have stability and something fairly easy and predictable and low stress, so that I could have a regular income to take care of my family while making the videos that were worth making and recording the podcasts that are worth recording, and not just chasing every single video. And so we did an inventory. We've got over 80 cars in the building right now. I would say we have over 85, except I think 3 or 4 of those cars might be freebies, so I don't even want to count them on the books. But I have. Oh, you want the stats? I did the stats. Zach, you interested in this? I broke it down a little bit of our cars in the building. This is a good time to bring this up, actually. We've got, of 85 cars in the building, right? 23 of them are Porsches.
Wow.
That's our most represented brand. Second to that, 9 BMWs, 9 BMWs, 7 Mercedes, 5 Ferrari, 5 General Motors, 4 Lamborghini, 4 Ford, 5 Mopar, 2 Bentley, 2 Lotus, and the rest are singles. It's a good spread.
Yeah, it's a
good spread. Year-wise, okay, of the 85 cars, Biggest demo. What do you think is the biggest? Well, actually, you don't know where I drew the lines. So the biggest demo, 32 of 85, are 2015 model year and up. So over a third of our cars are modern, new or new-like cars. Next demo, 19 are pre-1975. And then 8 cars, 2005 to 2015, 8 cars, 85 to 95, 4 cars, 95 to 05, and 2 cars, 97 to 85. So that's an interesting spread of what we've got in the building right now. The most valuable car is around $1 million.
That's mine.
That's yours. The cheapest car, I'll generously say, is around $10,000.
I'd say it's also mine.
There's a car cheaper than yours. There's I can think of at least one car, maybe even 2 cars cheaper than yours.
Yeah.
In the
to
building,
me, it's worth $1 million, but to most people, it's not. I found the old questions.
Oh, cool! Wow, that's a weird format. I haven't seen yet before. Okay, but in general, like, it's gone well. Customers come in, customers go out. Cars get where they need to go. Washes happen. The staff is well trained and professional. The
Super pro.
Customers are very happy, and I would say it's going well. All things considered, yeah. All things considered. Are we onto this screen now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, cool. Oh wait, do I have to? There's a lot of RIP Conrads. Have you sorted through those?
I have not. I just found the menu. So
all right. Where do we fucking start?
Here's an MR2 question.
Okay, cool. I have an MR2. Adam R says with a 4th gen 3S GTE swap similar to that. Okay, he wants to get out of this MR2. What is the next logical step up? Would I miss the manic boosted nature if I got like a 981 Boxster S or a base Evora? I wouldn't get a base Evora. If you can't get the Evora with a supercharger, I would kind of skip it. With a box, like, look, the difference is when I drove that MR2, I said this is a great budget Cayman. The characteristics of it were this kind of the same, and the power to weight ratio was very good. What you get by going to a Porsche is precision, the feeling of precision, and that's what you don't really get from a Toyota. Even though a Toyota is very nice, you don't get that really dialed in precision, and so that's what you're going to get. Would you miss the boosted nature? I mean, it's a different experience. I mean, if you really like how turbos feel, then maybe you'd miss it, but it's a different type of experience, different type of feeling, and maybe you'll like that when you try that. I mean, I like turbo cars, but I like naturally aspirated cars as well. It's a different kind of thing. So what you would have to look forward to would be an up step in the level of quality of the car. Thanks. Owner Armagon says, I have an 03 E39 M5. And I keep it mint. I've had it for 5 years, and I'm itching for either a 2002 BMW vintage or a 987 Boxster S. Sell or hold given the current climate. 2003 is the best year for the E39 M5. It's the rarest year. It had some updates to the interior, the nav. It's got the better steering wheel. Got angel eyes in 01, so it would have that. Lowest production year for sure. So it's the most collectible year, but at 115,000 miles, that isn't a particularly collectible example. It doesn't mean it can't be nice, but if we're talking about collectability, which is you're talking about, you know, what you don't say in your question is, do you need to sell it to get this other car? If you don't need to sell it now, and it's a nice car, I would say hold, because E39 M5s are on an upward trend, and they're nice to use. If you need to sell it now, you know, trade for a Boxster. Boxsters are not any investment cars either, but you're certainly going to get a nice experience. 2002s are cool looking, but fucking slow.
And
really,
expensive. Really
slow, and you're going to pay a ton of money to go that slow.
Yeah.
Like a 325 IS, like an 80s 320, an E30 325 IS is such a nicer car. Like twice the horsepower of a 2002, a 6-cylinder instead of a 4-cylinder. Like 2002s kind of suck.
They're just so cool looking. I get why people love them, but they've gotten so expensive now.
Yeah,
so
and they're so slow.
Right.
Like the one I drove would not go up a hill in 4th gear. Like that's fucking slow.
It's a very different experience from the M5. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If you want kind of, the Boxster will give you a different experience, but actually get you up the hill.
A Boxster will get out of its own way.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you find another one? Thank you. I see all of your notes about your cats and your pets, and thank you very much again. Fun Daily, Daniel says. Golf GTI, BMW. Why does everyone want to know about Boxsters? Problem with fun, when someone says daily, to me that means if this car breaks, I can't get to work. Mm-hmm. And that's where old Boxsters really, because little things can be engine out in a Boxster. Or if not engine out, the step one of the repair is remove the entire convertible top mechanism. There's an article Jack Baruth wrote for Truth About Cars about replacing some very mundane part in his car. Very mundane. I don't know what it was in this Boxster he had. And it was like a 32-step process of removing the entire top mechanism to get to this fucking thing. So consider that. Your daily should be something that is very simple, not very simple, but is not, you shouldn't have a Project German car for a daily.
I object. No, he's right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
All right, where else are we looking? Thank you for your notes. Oh, fun weekend car in Florida. Should I get a Lexus LC500 convertible or a 718 Spider? LC500 all motherfucking day. They are both fabulous cars, but Florida doesn't have a lot of corners. Corners are really where that Boxster is going to shine. The Lexus is fabulous in the corners as well for its size and weight, but on the Florida interstates, on 95, across Alligator Alley, all that shit, that V8 engine with the top down, just fucking freight training it, that's the experience you want to be having down there. You know what I mean? The Boxster, that engine is very highly functional, but not particularly inspiring, and that car shines in the balance. Well, there's really nowhere in Florida to show off that balance. Yeah. You're going a lot of straight in Florida. Connor Warkington says, okay. He's got an 02 Mercedes C240, and it's manual. Is that worth a premium over the automatic, or is it too quirky to attract enthusiasts? Can't decide whether to sort it and cut losses and unload. Well, the fact that it's unsorted isn't helping your cause very much. I would say if you find the right audience, you could get some kind of a premium for that car being a manual. 02 is old enough where the manual is a plus, I think, for a lot of people. What does that look like? Oh, it's that one? It's the four-eyed one? C240 manual? I mean, look, I don't know what it's going to cost you to sort it, but if it's otherwise nice, if it photographs well and you can sort it mechanically, I mean, that's a cars and bids car. You know what I mean? That it says manual transmission, whatever, and that's like some high schooler's first stick car. You know what I mean?
Which is kind of what it was back in the day, probably, just for a different neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, you find the right buyer for that, and there's a little bit of a premium on it. But again, if you've got to put a bunch of money into this thing, you know what I mean? It's like...
It's probably only worth a few $1,000s, I would imagine.
The premium is the premium compared to an automatic version of the same car. It's not a premium compared to, like, fucking anything else. It's not a premium compared to a BMW 3 Series.
Right.
It's not a premium compared to, I don't know what else. It's a premium only compared to the automatic version of the same car. And at that point, what is that, like a $7,000 car? It's not like you're talking, some huge amount of money. It's incremental. Oh, boy. RUV310, RUV310 says, I want one car or truck to commute in 6 hours a week. Good for mountain living, fire roads, hauling dirt bikes, snowy roads, 30 plus miles per gallon, $32,000 max. So do you think by dirt bikes he means like motorcycle dirt
Probably.
bikes?
Yeah.
So that pretty much means truck. That eliminates car, right? That means a truck. You're talking about a pickup truck.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have a small trailer, you want to like tow it on with a turbo diesel or something, you could, but
like fire roads.
Yeah, a truck would be better.
Fire and snow, hauling dirt bikes, Honda Ridgeline.
Who wants 30 miles per gallon? Yeah,
30 miles per gallon is a tall fucking order.
You can't get that in a truck right now.
I don't know what you're going to... I don't know what truck will offer that.
I don't think any of them offer that. I think they're getting in the 20s now.
I mean, you can probably get a Chevy Colorado diesel and get pretty decent.
God, they're so slow.
I know they suck.
They're so slow. I like that truck in general. I like the size of it. It's great. And you know, if you have a small trailer you're towing, like that's fine. Just be ready to go. If you have no
ego, the Honda Ridgeline rules.
Yeah, it does.
Really nice.
It really does.
Yeah, and I don't... $32K. I mean, you can probably get one lightly used.
Yeah. Or I mean, if you're going used, you have to sacrifice some of the miles per gallon. To get a used F-150, it's great. You know, it'll do all the things you want it to do. It just won't get 30 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
If you want to do all those things,
like I don't.
You need like a CX-5 and you need a trailer for the dirt bikes. I don't know what the tow rating is on a CX-5.
The dirt bikes are really the monkey wrench. Because if the dirt bike has to go into or onto the vehicle and not being towed on a separate trailer, you know what I mean? Right. That's a separate thing.
I mean, they're pretty light. I think like if you had a trailer that held two dirt bikes, you know, the weight of a dirt bike is like 450 pounds. Like you're towing 2,000
$32,000 isn't very much.
No, but
not when you want efficiency and towing and off-road.
I don't know, maybe like a Forester might pull enough.
Forester, that's interesting. Subaru Baja.
Subaru Baja.
Yeah.
You can't load the bikes in the back, but
yeah.
It really depends. If the bikes are going in the vehicle, you need a big pickup truck.
Yeah.
If you're pulling something with it, then it's just a matter of math. It's like, all right, tow rating meets miles per gallon meets how much money do you have. That's really it.
I mean, and you can tow it. Admittedly, you can tow a single axle trailer with two dirt bikes on it with almost fucking anything.
Right.
That isn't a problem.
Yeah.
So
I'd get something with a turbo personally.
Yeah, I mean maybe like CX-5 turbo.
Yeah, CX-5
that
turbo.
Might tow a little. That might tow a little something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. And George says, "Have we ever seen a Subaru Golf from the '80s?" I have. Zach, do you have any idea what he's talking about?
It's a pizza company?
No, it's this. What? They put an engine in the back of the. There's a couple. There's a couple different ones. There's the turbo one. This was a company that modified. So this thing was like a Group B fucking concept with a mid-rear engine, you know, giant fucking motor like a Renault R5 turbo.
Yeah,
right?
but what we're looking at is like an old Golf where the body is 3 feet above the rear wheels. And yet the frame in the middle looks like it's bent in the opposite direction. So it's almost
like cantilevered.
It's like a capital Y that fell over to the left.
Yeah, it's a cantilevered chassis.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, it's super strange.
Did it just rip itself apart when you try to drive it? Like, what was the point?
I don't know.
Was this before the pizza?
But we also talked about in another show recently, there was a Subaru also built a Golf body on a Porsche 928 chassis, and they widened it down the middle. So it looked kind of like a Golf, but it was like way wider than it was supposed to be.
That makes way more sense than this. There are so many pivot points here.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me why you would do that. I mean, I understand why you might maybe do it for accessibility, you know what I mean, but not why you'd like drive it down the road like that.
Is someone just showing off their hydraulic technology? Like, is this a hydraulics company that was like, we need a marketing tool? Let's show how these 2-foot pistons can like lift this body off of the engine. It's so weird.
Well, it's an air-cooled Porsche engine in the back. It's a 911 engine.
I just have so many questions.
It's dumb as fuck, but it's cool. There's
weird.
the widened one. You see on the left? So that's the difference between the one where they put a Golf body on a 928.
Yeah, there you go. It's like
which looks pretty awesome.
You could put the regular Golf inside the other one.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
It does.
Yeah. Let's go back to that list. What else we got? Anything new? Oh wow, we got good donations. On this one too. So 170 plus 453. What's that?
523.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever it is, I'm doubling it up for the donations. So if anyone donates in the super chat, every donation I will match. We're giving it to an animal shelter for kittens today. Anything else, Zach? Why does that look frozen? Oh, because you paused it. Sorry, never mind. That's it. Anything from the other page?
No, we went through the other ones.
Okay, great. All right, cool. Thank you all for listening today. This was a tough show to do because you're streaming that screen right now. Sorry. This was a little bit of a tough show to do because talking about Conrad is hard, and I didn't want to cry on the radio, but it's okay if you do. That's a good question.
Yeah, last card.
Chappie says, do we agree that with the car design world, they have decided we don't need internal knobs or dials? I like a well-engineered temperature dial with a satisfying click. I'm with you, dude. I think there are certain things that can be touchscreen and certain things that shouldn't be touchscreen, and I like a good quality dial. I think I like a volume knob. I like a temperature knob where possible. I like a scrolling knob for radio stations.
Absolutely. Things you adjust frequently. Which, I mean, the temperature in the car can change as soon as you turn a corner and the sun hits you a different way.
Yeah.
And I think we both know that driving down the road, trying to aim your finger to touchscreen on a bumpy road, especially if you're in a new area, like, it's not a good thing. You know where that knob is. And like, you can just, you feel it, you can adjust it without taking your eyes off the road.
Some are better than others. Mach-E is better than, for instance, the Defender in terms of touchscreen. Although the Defender has a temperature knob as well.
It does.
But I'm with you, dude. I'm definitely with you in the some knobs are good and not all knobs should go away.
I wonder if we're going to have a phase where, when smartphones became huge, there are car accidents, texting, da-da-da-da. Then we have no texting laws, no operating your phone, blah, blah, blah. But it's okay to do it.
Accidents did not go down.
Accidents didn't go down.
No.
But it's okay to touch a giant screen if it's part of your car.
Yeah.
They've tested this. Now I wonder if we're going to have this period where they find more and more people saying, well, I was using the touchscreen, not my phone. More accidents.
Well,
and then they have to go backwards.
If they really want to investigate, I tip it, we've seen the commercials where it's like, this person was texting like, I'll be right, crash. You know what I mean? It's like they know exactly, because your phone has a G meter, and if you, not that they necessarily can share your personal data, but I'm pretty sure that Apple and some other companies could share that data, or not necessarily Apple, excuse me, but your phone provider, Verizon or whatever, could say, yeah, they were typing this text because that happened. I mean, I remember when anytime a fucking Tesla smashes into something and you go, oh, well, the guy was watching fucking Shrek on his iPad.
Right.
They have the logs of that, so it's, unfortunately, I think that I think they're just going to try and assume that we would rather be on our fucking phones than driving and find a way to eliminate us from driving as opposed to finding ways to make the road safer while still have us be drivers. I mean, the Mach-E has radar cruise control, which works as well as any other radar cruise control I've used. And it has a lane keep assist program that I used for 2 seconds. It did something sketchy and I turned it back off, and they're not trying to tell me that this is an autonomous car. Thank God. Mach-E's it's a lot of it's really everything I like about a Tesla. Everything. There's nothing about a Tesla really that the Mach-E doesn't deliver. I mean, I'm trying to think of what a Tesla really does better than the Mach-E, and I'm struggling to think of anything except the slightly lower dash, which is a me thing, and a very, very slightly more intuitive system, but very, really
not enough for the price premium.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know about not enough for the price, but it's just not. I wouldn't choose one car versus the other because of the infotainment. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, because one is a B plus and one is an A. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Anyway, we got videos. All the cars that we talked about today, the Defender, the Mach-E, we've got videos coming out on all these, and they're not out yet. So if we didn't ask you, or if you didn't hear anything about, here's something about those cars that you think should be in a review, there will be videos. Fear not. Did that one just come in?
That one snuck in.
Oh, John P., last question. Now that I've recently driven the M2 CS and the GT350R, which would you put in your garage and why? The M2 CS was $25,000 more than the GT350R. $25,000. For the price of the M2 CS, I could have the GT500, which is what I would do.
23 grand, yeah.
Yeah, the M2 CS I drove was $92,000. The Carbon GT500 I drove with full carbon pack was $93,000. I'd take the GT500.
I would do the 350 and then save 23 grand.
Or or you could do that. I loved the GT350. I thought it's a fabulous car, but I don't think it's my personal taste anymore. For that kind of money, the more than 50 and less than $100,000, my choices would have the engine not in the front. Typically,
right?
Yeah. So that's our show tonight. I appreciate all of you. Wait, what do you have your phone? What is it? What's 453 plus 170? I can't do fucking math right now. How much is
623?
623. Does that sound right? I'm sorry, I can't do math.
Say again. 453 plus
453 plus 170.
623.
623. So times 2.
1246.
1246. All right. So I will make a donation in the name of all Smoking Tire listeners who donated today, and Conrad, for the amount of $1,246 to the Peter Zippy Fund. So thank all of you. Shout out to Braemont Watches for being choosing us to be ambassadors of your product. We will try and not make complete fucking fools of ourselves.
Yeah,
we will try and represent the brand very well. And if you guys are at all interested, go check out their website. It's really they got some really high end, nice product, and they're very nice people. We should get them on the show at some point. I don't want to do the Noah's Arcade. I'm trying to not do a Noah's Arcade. Do you remember that reference from Wayne's World?
I remember what he's saying, but
where you have the sponsor on the show,
and the guy in the suit is on the show. Yeah,
they try, advertisers and people who promote us and work with us, brands. They usually get to a point in the conversation where they try and get the founders of the brand or something on the show as editorial, and then I always say, like, no, we don't do the Noah's Arcade because it's kind of obvious what's going on. So we try to not do that. But thanks, Braemont. We'll try to represent your shit pretty well. We're good people down here. Thanks to all of you for listening. We are back with Adam Ferrara tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. live in studio, freshly COVID tested. Adam Ferrara will be on the Smoking Tire podcast. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.